And welcome to another edition of everyone's favorite show around here, the ETBU Sports and Coaches Show, with your friendly and always enjoyable host, Kenneth the K-Rock Klein. But what do we need to know? All I know is that I'm kind of wondering why is it Thanksgiving is next week and not this week. But that doesn't matter now. What matters is we are here to be talking with more men's basketball with the head men's basketball coach, Brandon Curran. And Coach Curran, of course, got your season underway. We'll get into those games in just a moment. But first and foremost, I gotta say, Coach, I know that you were gonna be talking about some fun things and all that, but I'm kind of curious about the whole Bass Pro Shop trip as well. Did some of your guys need to work on their fishing game or hunting game or whatever it is they need to do? I know we have someone engaged and everything, but I mean, what was the whole deal behind that?
Well, two things. Number one, I agree with you. It feels like Thanksgiving should be this week, and we're going to LaGrange College to play in their classic this weekend, and I actually thought it was a Thanksgiving classic. I actually thought originally we were traveling over Thanksgiving. It worked out better, though, because our guys start finals immediately after Thanksgiving, and so I'm glad we won't be traveling during that time. So it's good. But the Bass Pro thing, I don't know if you've ever been to the Bass Pro in Memphis, but it's inside the pyramid, the old basketball arena, and it's really incredible. The detail that goes into it, they've got basically the whole thing is built over water. And so there are giant sturgeon and bass and catfish and gar swimming around in ponds in certain areas, or almost like streams. And then there's another section that's got trophy trout, rainbow trout, just swimming around. And it's just a really cool environment, cool place. And when I got there, I told our guys, hey, 45 minutes, we'll be back up front. I think some of them were like, 45 minutes. And then they got in. I think they all really enjoyed it. It was a really neat place, and it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm sure that some of the guys might be planning on getting some Bass Pro Shops in the near future and all that. And then also, Coach, you talked about this last week on the show, but you were also planning on going to the Civil Rights Museum, which happened to be the hotel where the assassination of one of the most influential leaders in the history of America happened. But from an overall perspective, from your perspective as well as the players, was that trip like?
Really moving. Just walking up to the site of the assassination at the Lorraine Motel, I felt really heavy. I think the guys felt heavy. We spent some time in prayer there outside of the room. It was a really good experience for the guys to walk through, and we had a debrief in the hotel that night just about what they experienced, what they saw, what they learned, and there was a lot of just appreciation for how far we've come and what their grandparents and their great-grandparents endured during that time. And you look back, and it's just not that long ago that the country was in the state that it was in. And not saying that we have everything fixed either. But I know one of our players is from a mixed race family. His dad is white, his mom is African American, and he said, I wouldn't be here. And that was striking to him. I think another thing that stood out is the message of Martin Luther King, and that we are all created equal, and we are all created in the image of God. And that doesn't mean that we're all the same, but it does mean we all have inherent value and worth, and it doesn't matter our race, it doesn't matter our skin color. We are equal, and Christ died for all men. And we talked about what an incredible opportunity we have as a basketball program, that we are a mixed race community, that we are a reflection of the kingdom of God. And I think that is true for a lot of the basketball community and the athletics community. I know there's a lot of division in this country right now, and a lot of hurting and suffering over race as one of the things. And we really have an incredible opportunity as coaches and as athletes to show unity despite skin color. And our guys see each other as family and brothers, and I hope that's a reflection of the kingdom of God to the people that we come in contact with. So it was an incredible experience. Really enjoyed it. It was really eye-opening to see. I don't know if it was a good thing or not, but I wanted my kids to go because they've heard about Dr. King in school. And like we went in the first room, and a tour guide we had was incredible, and she described the conditions that people faced on slave ships and things like that, and my daughter just went over the corner and just wept. She just sobbed. And It's a good opportunity to talk about sin and evil in the world. It's also a good opportunity to talk about God's love and mercy and His vision of the world. And so it was good all the way around. It was hard, but it was a great experience, I think, for the guys and for the coaches and our family.
Absolutely, Coach. And I feel like, looking at this team and all of that, not only is it the fact that you guys some great returners and all that, but you also have the sense of unity on and off the court as well. That's the one thing that I get looking forward to most to this season as well. Of course, that unity was put to the test early in the first game against Rhodes when you guys were down by 11 points in the first half, but you were able to battle back to cut it down to 3 at halftime. And then it seemed like in the second half, everything just seemed to go your way. 3-pointers were going down. Guys were just executing. And this was only the first game. Let's put ourselves into that situation.
Yeah. We did get off to a cold start, and I thought the guys did a great job of not allowing our defense to dictate our offense. We just continued to play together, move the ball, stay patient. We were getting pretty good shots, and we figured eventually they'd start going. I was really proud of our defensive effort. We took 5 charges. Jaden Connor, a freshman, took 3 on his own. I thought he had an outstanding game. And then the second half, I thought we kind of wore them down in transition, and the floodgates kind of opened, and we started making shots and hitting shots, and it was a lot of fun, and we're able to come out with a win.
Absolutely, Coach. And then obviously following that, of course, you had a tough game against Millsaps where it just seemed like, things just weren't going your way and all that. But obviously, early signs and all that, you're going to have some bumps along the way, especially with the newcomers who are trying to adjust to the veterans who are on the team. Is that kind of always been expected? Like, you're just trying to figure things out from the start?
Yeah, trying to figure out a lot of things. Trying to figure out rotation, trying to figure out where shots are going to come from, trying to figure out who's best in certain situations and on certain matchups. And I think we're getting closer to that. I thought playing Millsaps was great. It was a completely different game from Rhodes. I thought they executed their game plan really well, and I thought we were able to learn some things that we can do in terms of details that maybe we had overlooked or we didn't think were quite as important, that I think will really help us down the stretch and down the road. We got a little bit tense offensively when things weren't continuing to flow like they did against Rhodes, and I thought we forced a little bit the second half. But I thought our guys responded well in practice yesterday. We're going to learn from the film, and I think we'll be ready to go on Friday.
Absolutely. And you mentioned this earlier, but you'll be having Georgia on your mind this weekend, of course, as you'll be traveling back to Georgia, second year in a row, of course, taking on 2 teams as well. But obviously, when you encounter a long trip like that, from going through multiple states until you reach Georgia, does it kind of, what does the mindset going into? Do you just think about seeing the beauty side of the country, or do you just kind of think basketball, or is it just kind of a mixture of both?
Yeah. It's interesting. Our trainer that went with us on this last trip, Ross, mentioned the fact he loves the travel, and right now it is pretty, seeing the leaves change and things like that. I anticipate on our charter to Atlanta that our guys will be asleep most of the time, and I'll probably catch some sleep too. But then once we're there, this last road trip I thought was outstanding with the things we got to do. This one we play a back-to-back. So it's going to simulate a conference tournament, an NCAA tournament. You're playing on the road. We're having to play the host team first in this particular situation, and then we'll have a neutral site game second. So I think it'll prepare us a lot for the end of the year. This will be our 5th and 6th consecutive road game. And I think that's really important. We do have a pretty home-heavy schedule coming up at the end of this semester and going into next semester. And so I think right now developing the toughness and the mindset and kind of the routine and the discipline that you need to win on the road is really important. And so that'll be our focus going into this weekend.
Well, we will be looking forward to the opportunity of going down to Georgia with you guys as you take on 2 good competitions. So we will look forward to that Friday and Saturday. That's going to wrap up another edition of the ETBU Sportsnet Coaches Show with Brandon Curran. We will talk with him more next time on the ETBU Sportsnet.